past few days, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry expressed a great deal of concern in regards to Israel's position in the international community should peace talks fail. Though his warning referred to potential economic sanctions on Israel, some strategic experts believe that there was more to it than that. Mr. Greenstein, what exactly do you believe that Kerry insinuated in his recent remarks?
Basically, Kerry is calling a spade in the sense that as long as Israel is perceived by the world to be engaged in the process that explores the possibility of two states for two people, the so-called two-state solution, then the ability to delegitimize Israel is limited. But the real threat of Kerry is that he has built the legitimacy to call the two-state solution no longer relevant, which means Kerry is slowly building himself to a position to say to the world, I've worked hard, I've explored every possible opportunity, and my conclusion is the principle of two states for two people is no longer viable. And therefore, if he does that, the floodgates open for the conversation about the one-state solution. And this is the big gun that he's pointing to the head of Israel.
What is Israel's situation around the world when it comes to boycott, divestment, and sanctions, known as the BDS movement?
The BDS movement, as it is right now, is a concern, but it's a totally containable concern. It's an anti-Semitic, anti-Israel movement, and therefore it cannot really gain traction. But those that are tacit delegitimizers of Israel are gaining ground in the sense that they're using the continued control of Israel over the Palestinian population, the condition of Israeli Arabs, what's going on with the Bedouins, as tools to undermine the legitimacy of the State of Israel. All of this, which is now relatively contained, could explode the moment we move into a new reality, we switch into a new reality, where the two-state solution is basically, explicitly or tacitly, declared irrelevant because John Kerry, after all of his efforts, failed. Then the BDS movement becomes extremely powerful.
People often confuse boycotting companies and products manufactured in the settlements with boycotting Israel.
There's often confusion between boycotting of products from the settlements and boycotting Israel. When the boycott comes from the BDS movement, it's the same, because the BDS movement only uses these issues in order to further hunt Israel down, and their ultimate vision is the elimination of the political model of the State of Israel and of Zionism. But there are people out there that when they boycott the settlements, they're actually legitimizing Israel. Because what they're actually saying is, whatever comes from the West Bank is not legitimately an Israeli product. But on the other side of the line, it's a legitimate Israeli product.
What is Israel to do at this point, in your opinion?
This is a decisive moment for Israel's top political leadership. If they say yes to the framework agreement of Kerry, Israel moves in one direction. If they say no, Israel moves in another direction. What is at stake right now is the existence of the political and diplomatic model of the State of Israel, as we have come to know it right now, which is fundamentally based on international legitimacy. The ultimate objective of Zionism was always to get to a point where there is a Jewish state realizing the right of the self-determination of the Jewish people, acknowledged by the world, with bilaterally agreed, internationally endorsed borders. We have that with Egypt, we have that with Jordan, except for the areas of the West Bank. Today, we have internationally recognized border with Gaza, we have internationally recognized border with Lebanon, and there's still the open issues are Syria and the West Bank. So this is a very decisive moment for Israel's national security and tremendously important for our future.
Israel has seen many rounds of negotiations over the years attempting to reach an agreement with the Palestinians. But according to Gidi Greenstein, failure of peace talks this time around may very well mark the end of the two-state solution in the eyes of the international community. For JN1, I'm Sivan, Raviv, Israel.